Hello and welcome back. I am Betty Shepherd.
And I'm Margot Karshner. And again, welcome to ChickChat. It's a ladies' show, a talk show about the issues that we have in life. And we have had a tremendous response to our February program, and we hope to entertain, enlighten, and engage you with tonight's program. And it is entitled Gloom, Despair, and Agony on Me.
I think this is a great topic.
Well, I know that I'm in the minority here, and nobody probably but me feels this way. Maybe my sister feels this way. But my views on depression are very much unlike most people's. I have to share what I think, though. I can't really identify with depression because I have not, and I won't give into it. I feel it coming, and I won't give into it. As Daddy would say, it's all in your head. I can't really identify with depression because I just don't acknowledge it. I've had things to make me sad, mad, and hurt. I've had things to worry about. I've had my kids to do things that could depress me. I've had my friends to say things that could depress me. And I have been concerned, worried, and conflicted over things, but never depressed. I think it's a worn out, overused cliche in my opinion. And I know that I'm in the way minority, and Betty feels probably the opposite. But in my life, as soon as I feel myself getting sad, as I call it, feeling sorry for myself, I pray about it and I give it to God, and then I immediately get up and go to Goodwill and buy something. I can find something there for $4 or $5 that cheers me up. Then I go to Speedway and get a Polar Pop, and I sneak a piece of pizza. Even if it's right before lunch, right before dinner, I will eat a piece of pizza and not tell anybody about it. Now here's the other thing that I do. I fake laugh. I fake laugh. In the bathroom by myself. Then I look in the mirror, and if my face is still gloomy, I fake laugh again and look back in the mirror. And I do this until it ends. And I also I do a little song thing like like that, and that brings me out of it. I know you're thinking that woman had gone crazy, but that's me, and I will rejoice and be glad in it and not give into it. But now, Betty, do you get depressed?
I do. I have in times in my life. Margot, we have a totally different viewpoints on this. There was a time when I was younger, I had a lot of trauma when I was growing up. I got really depressed, and when I was 19, I tried to take my life.
Oh.
Of course, God had a different plan, but there's been times in my life that I've had depression. Not as much now as in the past. But I'm glad those things work for you, but they just don't work for everybody. I think there's a lot of variables when it comes to depression. I think trauma, of course, is a huge part of depression. And I also think that there's chemical imbalances that people have that causes depression. And of course, we could have all the opinions that we want, but I think this is something that we need to call an expert on. And so today we have an expert. Her name is Kelly Dicus. I got to know Kelly when she was working at a local agency. I've had students and friends that's had major depression, but I dealt with students who had major depression, and I would refer those students to Kelly, and Kelly had huge success with the students I work with.
Did you think younger people have more depression than people of my generation?
No, I just think, to be honest, I think that your generation probably hides it better.
Yeah,
and I think the younger generation is more
they're not ashamed to say, I'm depressed.
Yes, I think they're more willing to seek help than the older generation.
Than the middle-aged.
Yes. Middle-aged.
Yeah.
So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about Kelly. She is part of a mental health consortium called Psychiatry and Wellness Associates of Frankfurt. She is on the board of the Sunshine Center, and she is also a licensed professional clinical counselor. She works with issues such as depression, anxiety, and trauma. Let's welcome Kelly.
Come on in, Kelly. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Kelly, it is an honor to have you here.
Thank
And
you.
I do know you. I've met you before.
We have. It's just been a long
You know,
time.
when you've been around as long as I have, you know just about everybody. So, we're going to start out with some questions that you being a professional in this, we want you to know, what is the difference in being depressed and being bored? How can you tell if you're bored, unfulfilled, or depressed?
So, boredom usually is a temporary thing, right? We all get bored. We all get sad. You know, we just have things in life that happen, and, you know, our feelings kind of do this all the time. That's totally normal. Major depressive disorder is very different from that. So what we look for is at least 2 weeks, pretty much constant sadness, not having much energy. Your eating habits may change, so you may gain a bunch of weight or lose a bunch of weight. Just being tired, feeling hopeless. So it's a lot different than just being bored or just being kind of sad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because that kind of comes and goes usually.
Mm-hmm. Usually you can eat something or
or you can go to a show, or you can see your friends, you know, and then your thoughts change a little bit and you start seeing the light again, and it's okay.
So we're looking for when it keeps on.
Exactly. Yeah, when it really doesn't give up. That's when you start worrying a little bit.
You know, I have a friend who has it all. Her life is just full of everything, and she has it all. But she's depressed, and she says that's depressing to have it all and be young.
Because then she
and
feels
pretty.
guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So the thing is that it's nothing. You know, we can't point to any one thing that causes depression. What we do know is that you have too much brain, you know, too much of a brain chemical, not enough of a brain chemical. That's why medication works. It works with the neurotransmitters and the, you know, all the brain chemicals that we have. And if they're not working correctly, if we have too much or too little, then we're a mess.
They can test for that.
They cannot test for it.
They just
I mean, I'm sure there's some neurologist somewhere, I don't know, but no, I mean, they can do brain scans and see that the brain's working differently in people that are depressed and people that aren't, but we're not there yet. We don't have a little test for depression.
So what are the different kinds of depressions, and what are the causes and the signs of the different kinds of depression?
So one kind that pops up for me right now, because we don't have much sunlight, is just that depression that some people get. They call it SAD. It's seasonal affective disorder. And if you're not getting enough vitamin D, enough sunlight, it can cause some depression. Absolutely. So one of the things we do before, you know, a therapist does much of anything is we send people to the doctor first. To get labs drawn to make sure that they don't have some kind of vitamin deficiency, because most people do, and they don't know that.
So you can take vitamin D. My doctor prescribed vitamin D.
That's why, if you have a deficiency in vitamin D, it has been my experience that people with vitamin D deficiency are more likely to be depressed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's such a kind of a simple fix.
You can buy that
probably
over-
most people don't even think about.
Yes. You do need to see a doctor, though, to make sure that you're taking the right amount, because you need the blood test to make sure that you understand like what kind of deficiency you're talking about. You could be deficient in a B vitamin, which is causing you not to have any energy. I mean, there's all kinds of... We don't eat well anymore.
No.
So we don't get all the vitamins that we need.
Can you get enough in your one a day? Mostly, no.
Some people can, but if you're deficient, that's probably not going to do it. Like, I mean, I've seen people have to take high doses of vitamin D to just kind of level them out.
Yeah.
But it does often really help. So we try those things before we try antidepressants or something like that.
I like the vitamin D because they're little. He said take 2 for, I think, 2 months and then 1 forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's across the counter, so you can just go in there and buy you a bottle of vitamin D after you see your doctor.
That's one kind of sad.
Right.
What are some other kinds of depression?
There's bipolar depression, and that's a really interesting one that people don't know much about, I think, and we don't talk enough about it.
No. Mm-mm.
So bipolar depression looks like regular old depression, right? Can't get out of bed, don't want to shower, don't want to go to work, don't want to hang out with friends, just all of that stuff. But then in addition to that, to be diagnosed with that, you have to have at least one episode of mania, which is the opposite of depression.
That's
right.
Oh, that's the really high.
It's really high. Like literally, people tell me they feel like they're high, like they're on drugs when they're not. Again, that's just brain chemicals messing with them. So they often feel like they can do anything. I've had people say, I could fly off that building. I'd be just fine. And they truly believe that.
That's why some people do try to fly off the building.
So they have, some delusions. They don't really see things as they are. They read into things a lot that, just kind of normal everyday things look very different for them. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really difficult one for families. We usually find it in teenagers, and I mostly see teenagers. So I usually see when it starts. And it's tough because we tend to blame the person with the disorder rather than the disorder.
Now, also, I have another friend who's just bubbly all the time. Mm-hmm. But that's just
that's just her personality.
Okay.
It's when it's very different from your norm. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm very hyper.
Me too.
I'm ADHD as heck, and I'm bouncing off the walls, and I do 100 different things at the same time. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
If you see me not get out of bed, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Like if I can't get out of bed for a couple days, then there's an issue because that's not who I am. Mm-hmm. So, you have to look at that person's personality and go, does this look different than the norm for them? Mm-hmm. That's the important piece, I think.
So switching gears a little bit, can you tell us, since we're talking about depression, some signs of suicide?
So depression is a major leading cause for suicide, obviously, which is why it's so important that when you see someone isolate and you see that someone's depressed, that you get them help immediately. Some signs of suicide are just staying to themselves. They just kind of don't hang out with friends anymore, don't really talk to people much anymore. They just kind of isolate themselves because they feel helpless and alone. There's again, not eating, not sleeping well, anxiety. You can usually see a lot of anxiety in someone who's trying to make that decision because that's a difficult decision to make. It's scary. There's so many signs.
What about the kids who come to us as we're around teenagers a lot, and if they say, I'm just worried or depressed, of course we send them to the counselor first thing. Mm-hmm. But are we, if they're abused, we are obligated by law to report that. Wonder about mental abuse. If we are, do we report that too?
Well, I know in my job, if a student comes to me or another student tells me, I pull a student in and they have a plan, that's when we have a mobile assessment done because we cannot let them leave if they have a plan.
Absolutely.
Because it's an emergency situation.
Well,
absolutely.
Well, if they say they're going to go home and they're going to hang themselves this day, or they're going to go leave school and jump off a bridge.
Or kill everybody here.
If they've got a plan, then we can't let them leave.
Mm-hmm.
But they know, teenagers are so smart. They know that if they say that, they're asking for help.
Yes.
Like they want you to help them. Mm-hmm. Most of them don't say that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to watch for those other signs because they probably, if they've made up their minds to do that, they're not going to tell you about it first because they don't want you to stop them.
Are there more age group? We talked a little bit about it, but are teenagers today more prone to be depressed than people my age and the mid-50s, would you say?
Yeah, mid-40s.
Mid-20s.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, we were taught to suck it up.
Yeah.
I'll give you something to cry for, those kind of things.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Was that good in parenting, or was that bad? I mean, it's hard for me to judge because I turned out kind of all right.
Right.
But
I think if you're seriously depressed, that's not going to be very helpful. I think what you need is somebody to listen to you. I think that's why therapy is so important. Because parents sometimes can't listen. They take everything very personally. Like, oh my gosh, if my child's depressed, then I'm a bad parent. Or if something, if my child was sexually assaulted and I didn't know about it, then I'm a bad parent. I didn't keep them safe. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's so much of that parents sometimes just can't. They can't just let their kids talk about
sometimes
it.
they don't want to. Yeah.
They don't want to know. It's too painful.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
And a lot of kids don't want their parents to know their deepest, darkest feelings.
No, they're afraid of being judged. Not just by parents, but by adults in general. They think we don't get them. Because we were never teenagers. But they think we don't understand. So I think it's really, really important to get them to someone that they click with, a therapist that they really can build a bond with and that they know they're not being judged by. I think that's really important.
And, I've been in the ministry and I love preachers and I don't want to take anything from them, but most of them that's not their calling, is mental health issues.
No.
And sometimes we try to solve that ourselves when they need to go talk to someone who really has been trained in that and is really more compassionate, and it's their calling. So, yeah.
So, some final thoughts, Kelly. I know you mentioned this, steps to get help. Can you give us some final thoughts on steps to get help for suicidal thoughts, or depression?
There are all kinds of suicide hotlines. I mean, you can Google that, and I'm sorry, I don't have one off the top of my head, but I mean, literally, you can Google it and it'll come right up. So you can talk to somebody. If you don't want to go see someone, you can talk to them on the phone, and they will stay on the phone with you and listen to you as long as you need.
Do you want to share your information, how to get in touch with your...
That's what, so myself and a couple of other therapists and Andrea Simonis, who is a psychiatric nurse practitioner, are opening a new office. It's called Psychiatric and Wellness Associates of Frankfurt. The number is 502-352-6000. I'm glad I remembered that. Also, so we accept Medicaid and we accept private insurance too, and self-pay. So we try to accommodate everyone. If for some reason it's a child or adult that does not have insurance or can't afford their copay, because that happens a lot in state government, and they have had some kind of trauma, then they can go to the Sunshine Center for free. So you can call the Sunshine Center. There's a therapist there for adults, Angela, and there's a child therapist, Deborah.
Wonderful.
And they're both wonderful. So that's another, it's a wonderful part of our community.
It is. It's definitely been sent students there. So, Kelly, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for helping us to understand this very serious
Very
topic.
enlightening. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
So, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's talk about next month's topic. It's called Laughing Out Loud. We have a guest come in that will absolutely crack you up. I will not tell you who she is, but she is very funny.
She is. I can't even stand to talk to her on the phone because she cracks me up. But we do need your help financially and prayerfully and your support. We're just starting out in this, and if you have a small business and you would like to sponsor us, or if you have a large business and you'd like to sponsor us, get in touch with us via Facebook, our ChickChat, or you can find us at Western Hills most days. We would love to have your help, and we have enjoyed being with you the last 2 episodes. We have a whole year planned out. Please, if you do want to help us financially, you send a check to 145 Langford Avenue, or our PayPal account is
ChickChatMK@AOL.com. ChickChat, all one word, MK@AOL.com. That's our PayPal email address.
So with that, we say good night.
Good night.
God bless.
God bless. Thank you.
Pleasant dreams.
Pleasant dreams.
Let's say it over.
Good night. Pleasant dreams.
And may God bless. Bye.
Bye.